Hello and welcome to today's episode of Created to Write. Today I am joined with Ray Higdon, all the way from America. How are you, Ray?
I'm doing good.
Good to hear. Can you introduce yourself to my audience and just let us know a little bit about you? Who are you? You're actually one of my mentors. Other than that, who are you?
Let's see. Father of four. Been married 15 years. I currently live in Naples, Florida, in the U.S. And I've been. I guess the last job I had was 21 years ago. And so I've owned different companies. I currently own a coaching and training company, and we train mainly sales reps and sales teams. We help people sell better when they have a product, service, or opportunity that they believe in. We help them sell more of that thing. And so sometimes I'm training a team, sometimes I'm training an individual, but mainly around sales. Probably the big news, probably connected to what we'll talk about, is 3.5 years ago, I found the Lord and did not grow up in the church or you know anything. And since then, it's been a very different writing career. I've written, I think it's 8 books now, and but the last two were very different than the previous six. And so excited to hopefully inspire somebody today.
Cool. Thanks for that. And tell us so far, since you've been writing, what's been the most amazing moment?
I mean, the most amazing moment, you know, um, I mean, it's been very cool seeing our books, do well and be bestsellers. And, I've had, I don't know if I still have them actually, but let's see. So, like, we've had some of our books translated into French, Spanish, and like, what's funny is people reach out to me because they love the book so much they wanted to translate it, and I'm like, okay,
That's
so,
cool.
so that part's cool. I would say the coolest is, the last two books were. Just God really guided me on them. In fact, I remember when I was reading for the audiobook Faith Driven Wealth, there were some parts in that book that I was like, wow, that's pretty good. Because I didn't write it. And so I just think, the most exciting part of my entire life is just letting the Lord lead me and letting him guide me. I pray on every major and minor decision. And so that's been the most exciting for sure.
Yeah. Yep. I have moments like that in my books where when I read it again, I go, wow, that's good. Must have been with the Lord writing.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Amen.
So cool. So tell us, I've heard you talk a little bit about this. What does your writing process look like?
Um, well, I mean, in a lot of my other books, freakishly, like our leadership book. This one was from Hay House, Time, Money, Freedom. Uh, all the other books. There's, Go for No for Network Marketing. I don't even have all my books here, but for most of those, I would have someone interview me and I would have them edit it because I did not trust my editing ability. And then I would read it and make any changes. And so that's been kind of the deal up until the last, two books. When it came to the last two books, I just I was woken up very early in the morning and was I would just write. And so the Faith Driven Wealth, the latest book, Faith Driven Wealth, this was we I'd been hired to train on a cruise ship. So it was a 7-day cruise. And every morning I was woken up at 3 a.m. to start writing this book. So this was written on the cruise ship and came back and we made it into a book. And A lot of people enjoyed it. John Maxwell wrote the foreword to it, and we've had a lot of people really, enjoy it. And so I've never studied writing. I've never read a book on writing. So I'm probably very non-traditional as far as that. The last two books, just the Lord led me on exactly what to put, what stories to share, when to write, when to stop, how long were the chapters. None of that was planned out. I just let Him guide me, and
Mm.
and hoped that it was good.
Yeah, that's really cool how so faith has really shaped how you approach writing now.
Faith has really shaped how I approach everything in my life now.
Mm.
Certainly, writing is part of that. Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. So, what's something that you a highlight of your author journey so far that makes you smile?
Hmm. You know, it was just kind of a surreal moment was when Hay House approached us, my wife and I, to write this book. And one, I never thought I'd be a writer, right? Um, and in the beginning, I just was, doing books kind of as marketing pieces. I figured it would, attract people to me. They would look into my stuff, right? But to have a company like Hay House, and they paid us a six-figure forward, right, to write that book, and I'm just like, this is crazy. Like I failed English in high school. I didn't graduate high school on time. I never got a degree in college. I went a couple years, but I never got a degree. And this major company that's published Joe Dispenza and Tony Robbins and different people, they're paying me a six figure. Like it was just crazy. And so that was a surreal moment. Um, I think my favorite thing that's happening now is in Faith Driven Wealth, which is the latest. I uh, I talk about hearing and prayer, and I instruct people, hey, if you need help hearing and prayer, reach out to me, send me the number three. I'll know what you mean. And so almost, I wouldn't say every week, but definitely several times a month, someone from somewhere in the world will send me a number three, we'll connect, and I'll help them better here in prayer. I love doing that. That's super cool. I think that helps them, draw closer with God, and I just love doing that. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, so much fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now you're not a traditional, as you've said. You've come into
No,
writing from a different angle completely to who I normally talk to on this show.
I'm
So I
sure.
guess when somebody's thinking that they've always wanted to write a book, it's crazy the amount of people who say that, oh, I'm going to write a
Yeah.
book one day. What tips would you give those people?
Well, the Lord directs our heart. And so I think if you have the nudge in your heart to write a book, I think that's God calling you to write the book. And so, the first instruction God gives us is be fruitful and multiply. Well, fruit is something that has seed on the inside. You have seed on the inside. Will you bring that seed out and actually be fruitful? Will you bring that seed out and actually help other people? And so I really believe that, you walking in purpose is you figuring out what unique talents and gifts and seeds did God give you to help other people, and are you bringing that out? And so I remember I was coaching this lady, and she said, she goes, yeah, God's been calling me to write a book, and I just don't have the money for publishing. And I said, He didn't call you to have the money for publishing. He called you to write the book. And so what I've found is with when you're obedient to how God is nudging you, doors fling wide open. But if we think logically and we think, well, okay, well, I'll start writing once I have this, this, and this. I'll start writing once I have this many Instagram followers or $10,000, or I get someone offers to pay me or something. And that's just not how I've seen God work. How I've seen God work is he tells you to do something very uncomfortable. And if you make that next step, the next step shows up. And so if you're being nudged to write a book, write the book and the rest will get figured out for you. All of a sudden a publisher will appear. All of a sudden someone will interview you on a podcast like this or something. And so I think that's, the Bible talks about it in multiple places where it says you either walk by faith or sight. And sight is like logic, right? So we want to have all our logic, we want to have all our logical ducks in a row before we go and publish a book. And I just don't think that's what God's calling you to do. If he's calling you to write a book, start writing. And so you don't have to have the entire plan, start writing. And so that would be my big advice is stop waiting because how many people waited to write their book that would have changed the world and then they got hit by a train, right? And so like we're not guaranteed tomorrow. If you're nudged to write a book, write the book, get it out of you, and then you'll get to have people come up to you and say, "Oh my God, your book changed my life," and that's awesome. I think more people, I think God wants more people to experience that, but they need to trust him to do that. And he gave you the gifts to do it. You can do it.
Absolutely. That's brilliant. Thank you for sharing that, Ray. And if you're into sales in any way, shape, or form, go find Ray on YouTube or on Facebook. Where else? Instagram. You're everywhere, aren't you?
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
I'll drop his website below as well. Thank you, everyone, for watching today. Please hit that like and subscribe. And remember, you were created to create, and many of us were created to write. Thanks, Ray.
Very good.